Moscow, capital of Russia, previously of the Soviet Union, biggest city in Europe, and definitely a place I would recommend you go visit at least once in a lifetime. Established in the 12th century, Moscow is Russia's biggest city, with a population of over 13 million people. Home to hundreds of historical buildings, museums, churches, parks, bars, and restaurants, it may be a little overwhelming the first time you visit. So I've made this video to give you some tips and recommend a few places and activities you may enjoy while visiting the city. So the first thing I want to talk about is transportation, and if you arrive to Moscow by airplane, please do not take a taxi from these guys. They will rip you off. The best way to get to the city is either to take the Aero Express, which is a train that goes from the international airports to the city center, or use a taxi app like Yandex Taxi, which is pretty much the Russian equivalent of Uber. Once you arrive in the city, I would definitely recommend you get a Troika card, which allows you to use the metro, buses, and trams of the city for a really good price. You can get one of these at pretty much any metro station, which brings us to our next topic, the Moscow Metro. On top of being one of the fastest and cheapest ways to navigate the city, the metro is also worth visiting for its beautiful stations that often look more like museums than public transportation. A ticket will cost you 40 rubles or around 60 cents, and since there are no zones, no matter wherever you get out or however long you stay in it, you'll always pay the same price. Not all stations were created equal, and some are more beautiful than others. So some of the ones I recommend you visit are Площадь Революции, Маяковская, Белорусская, Киевская, Таганская, Курская, Комсомольская, Проспект Мира, and Novoslobodskaya. One final advice, instead of trying to decipher the map of the metro, just use Google Maps. It works great and will give you the station names in the Latin alphabet. So now that you know how to get around the city in a fashionable way, I would recommend you go check out some of the parks. I'm sure that a lot of you imagine Moscow like this old communist city with a bunch of great buildings everywhere, but the reality is that it's one of the greenest capitals in the world with over 90 parks and gardens. Especially if you're visiting in the summer, I would definitely recommend taking a stroll in one of the many parks the city has to offer. Almost all of them are free apart from a few botanical gardens. Probably the most famous park in Moscow is Park Gorького, or Gorky Park, but I wouldn't say that it's my favorite one, since it's often overcrowded and not that big to begin with. To mention some other parks that are worth visiting, there's Tsaritsino, Izmailovo, Muzeon, Sokolniki, Kolomenskaya, and Losиный Ostrov. However, since there's so many parks in Moscow and I can't talk about all of them in this video, I would recommend that you Google some of the other ones if you're looking for further suggestions. Well, this is my personal opinion, but whenever I go to a city, I don't necessarily want to see all the touristy stuff. Instead, I want to see the real spirit of the city. And I think there is no better way to do that in Moscow than just walking around. Compared to cities like London or Paris, Moscow is really safe, so you don't have to worry about getting killed or kidnapped or something. The worst thing that can happen is just petty crime. By exploring the city on foot, you may find some hidden spots that are not listed in travel guides, and I think you'll get a more authentic experience this way and a better feel of the city. One of my favorite reasons to visit Moscow is for the food. I know that not a lot of people are familiar with the Russian cuisine, but let me tell you, it's fucking delicious. On top of that, you have a lot of ethnic cuisine from former Soviet republics. So if you want to try some Russian food, you may want to check out some of these restaurants. There's Cafe Pushkin, Stolovaya number 57, Karchma Taras Bulba, Grabli. And if you want to try some fast food, there's Teремок, which is traditional Russian food, or Kroshka Kartoshka, which is basically just a huge baked potato with whatever you want inside. If you're not sure what you want to order, definitely try some salad olivier, vinaigrette salad, borscht, щи, пельмени, пирожки, голубец, beef stroganoff, blины, or just ask the waiter for some advice. There are thousands of bars in Moscow, which kind of makes it difficult sometimes to make a choice, but definitely check out some of the hidden bars like Mendeleev or Schrödinger's Cat, and a few other bars that I've enjoyed like Chinese Pilot Jauda, Junk Punk Craft Bar, Martinez, or Glavpiv Mug if you're into craft beer. I know that this video is supposed to be about Moscow, but if you do have some time and you're able to rent a car, I'd also recommend you visit some of the smaller cities outside of Moscow. It'll probably give you a better understanding of what Russia is really like, and it'll also give you the chance to experience the Russian roads. So here's a few interesting cities you can reach by car. There's Vladimir, Sergei Posad, Yaroslavl, Tver, Ryazan, Kaluga, and if you're brave enough, Smolensk. Now there's definitely way too much stuff to do in Moscow for me to put it all in one video, but here's my final advice. I don't even think I need to tell you to go see the Kremlin or the Red Square. Definitely do it. Also check out some of the 600 plus churches like Храм Христа Спасителя, go see a ballet at the Bolshoi Theater, check out the circus, go buy some stupid souvenirs on Arbat, enjoy a leisurely ride in a riverboat on the Moscow River, and visit a few museums like Tretyakovskaya Galeria, Pushkinsky Museum, or the Museum of Cosmonautics. If you stuck till the end, I'd like to sincerely thank you. Hopefully this video was useful for some of you, and maybe see you in another video.